So, how is everybody doing today? Welcome to my first ever attempt at YouTube videos. And I don't know what I'm going to be doing on this channel. Reading some stuff, poems, stories, just talking about people who were my influences and people I grew up watching, listening to, and all that stuff. So anyway, with that in mind, I thought we'd start with this chap. Well, it's not really, there you go. It's not really showing up all that well. Mr. Matt McGinn, McGinn of the Calton. I was very lucky that this here book, I just happened to mention that I had heard it was in print, couldn't find it anywhere. I was on Twitter, of all places. And of all strange things, and again, don't know if you can really see this, but whoa, there we go. Matt McGinn, one of his daughters, Shona, got back to me and she sent me a copy for free, autographed it and everything. Brilliant. Anyway, so I talk more in our time about Mr. Matt McGinn, but today we're just going to dive right in for story time as we're sitting in my wee pub here. Story time with Alex. So I'm going to read a chapter of his book called The Minister's Daughter, She Was There. So you know it's going to end up good. It's got that line in it, if you know the song. So anyway, so now I had to settle for no witnesses being called by myself. My son Matt took the care of the press side of things. The press had in general been fair to me down the years. I recall the Scottish Daily Express, then being printed in Scotland, and their treatment of an unfortunate incident which could have caused me a great deal more embarrassment than they did, simply by their clever use of a headline. I'd been singing for years in folk clubs, and they're a very useful training ground, but they also have a spoiling effect. Crude and often naughty songs were involved by all who attended. These clubs, as long as they were in some way clever, and a word like arsehole was not likely to be new or offensive, such as the club audiences. So there was one song I had introduced into the clubs which soon became much requested, namely The Doug's Party, which is in the naughty but clever category. It was an old soldier's song which I had heard as a boy, but of which I had forgotten the words until my memory of them was then refreshed by Tom Paxton, who heard the same song in the States. Interesting. I thought it was always a Scottish song, but anyway. The song was okay for the clubs where it always went down a bomb. It was, however, unsuitable for concerts where there was a mixed company, particularly in respectable places like Aberdeen. In a big town hall, Archie Fisher and I were giving a performance and we'd taken the place by storm. I had them rolling the aisles with songs, such as the one I had written on then, but about the recent typhoid epidemic in town. And I'll read you that in our time, we'll skip by that. Anyway, at the end of the evening, the capacity audience were encoring, and somebody shouted for the dog's party. "Gae's the dog's party!" The shout came from more people in the audience. "No, I'm sorry," says I, "it's a mixed audience." "Gae's the dog's party!" The entire audience seemed to be shouting, those who knew the song wanting it, and those who didn't, apparently wondering what I was refusing to sing. I had no intention of acceding to the request, or more properly, the demand that I sing the Doug's Party, until my friend Arthur Argo, who had organised the concert, came from backstage into the audience and shouted, "Don't sing it, Matt, you'll get me hung." With this, something inside me clicked, and I said, "Oh, bugger you, Arthur," and I sang. But I'm not going to sing because I'm a terrible singer. "The dogs, they had a party. They came from near and far. Some dogs came by aeroplane, and some by motor car. They went into the lobby and signed the visitor's book, and each one hung his arsehole upon a separate hook. One dog was not invited, and this announced his ire. This aroused his ire. He rushed into the meeting place and loudly shouted, 'Fire!' Now the dogs, they were excited. They had no time to look, and each one took an arsehole from a nearest hook. It is a sad, sad story, for it is very sore to wear another's arsehole you've never worn before. And that is why, when two dogs meet, by land or sea or foam, each sniffs the other's arsehole and hope it is their own. The entire audience seemed to go into hysterical laughter, but at least one person in the auditorium was offended, and seriously so. He was a minister who was there with his 16-year-old daughter, and they raised the matter publicly the following day. Arriving in Glasgow 2 days after the concert, I phoned Jeanette, who was his wife, to be told, "The press is all about you. You better contact the Express, who haven't been off the phone for the past 24 hours. So I called the Express. The following day, they had a front page story with their sports editor suggesting the headline, "Or a minister's daughter, she was there." Which, of course, was a quote from one of the naughtiest of naughty songs, "The Ball of Kerrymuir." Some of you might know it as Form 20 Virgins. They treated the story humorously, as I guess they and the rest of the press would treat this one about the posters. So anyway, we short and sweet one today. If anyone watches this and likes it, down there, comments. Think I'm shite? Down there, comments. You like it? You want more? Down there? Aye, you know, comments. Anyway, I'm just looking at the time up there. Aye, it's almost shutting time at the pub, so I better go and get one in before last orders. And we'll see you next time. Night night.